Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Math with Mr. W. And look what we have here. We have another set of things to do with bags. Yep, you're going to have to get some stuff to put in bags, only this time it's money. Make sure that they don't take it with them. Here's what the bags have to contain. 30 pennies each bag, 6 nickels, 4 dimes, and 2 quarters. Now, what are we going to do with those bags? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and make 25 cents. That's right. We're going to make 25 cents. And we're going to introduce the idea of the letter that stands for each one of these. So pennies equals P. Nickels is N. D is dimes, and quarters are Q. Before we were adding things together, we had all the numbers, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Now we're going to do something a little bit easier. And I think this is a lot of fun, and hopefully your students will like this, okay? Because it's easier to write. So we got those 30 pennies in the bag. Well, one way of making 25 cents is having 25 pennies. That's one way of doing it. We can do it with 25 pennies. All right. So if we want to use all pennies, we can make it with 25 pennies. But as soon as we take out the pennies, or take only some pennies and introduce one of the others, things change. If I want to have 20 pennies, I can have a nickel. Now you'll notice that I didn't put the number 1 in front of the letter N. I could have put 1 in front of it. That might be okay. 1 nickel. Okay, so let's make this a capital P. So make these capital P's. I think that'd be better. So I've got 25 pennies, 20 pennies, and 1 nickel. Now, what's another way of doing this? Well, again, we're going to have to reduce the number of pennies, and we have to reduce it by 5s. So we reduce it by 5s. The next one's going to be 15 pennies. And we could have 2 nickels. But that also brings into contention the next character called a dime. Because we could have 15 pennies and 1 dime. 1 dime. Okay, so now we got 15 pennies. The next thing down is 10. So what happens when we have 10 pennies? Well, what can we do? We could have 3 nickels, couldn't we? We could have 3 nickels. And there's enough nickels here, the students can actually see the stuff in front of them. They can see the 10 pennies and see the 3 nickels. And you can slow them down. Make sure they recognize what it's doing. So they can see 3 nickels, 15 cents. So that's 15 cents plus 10 cents is 25 cents. And again, they're doing the addition. They're doing multiplication. They don't think they're doing multiplication, but they're doing multiplication. And they're using money. Kids always love money. So we go to number 6, and we can have 10 pennies, but only this time we have 1 nickel plus 1 dime. So that's 15 cents plus 10 pennies. Oops, I forgot to put the P. All right. And so on. And then we're going to go down to 5 pennies. Or is there another way? No, I don't think there's another way of doing that, because I can't have 2 dimes. because that would take me over the top of 25 cents. So now the next thing we have to have is 5 pennies. And then we have to move to just using nickels and dimes. And of course, knowing we could have 1 quarter. But introducing the variable here, or the letter. Some of the students might be bothered by this. Most of them shouldn't be, though, because we're using something familiar to them. Pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters. And we're just using the first letter of those words. P, N, D, and Q. I don't think that they're going to have trouble with this. So, again, we're working to make 25 cents. And you're probably asking yourself, why do I need so many dimes and so many quarters? Well, the idea is this is the beginning of your game. You're playing with them. The next step is to get to 30 cents. And then maybe 40 cents. How do I make 50 cents? That would probably be the end of the year. Very end of the year. How do I make 50 cents? But as they're doing this, they should be keeping all records of what they had done in the past. And so they can look back and see, what did I do before? So they can, again, look at the past, and they want to look forward to what they have now, 50 cents. They'll be able to understand it because they have a background. So make sure they keep those older papers as a background for the ones they're doing later in the year. Thanks again for being with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time on Math with Mr. W.